कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को नयाति पराङ्गतिं यत्पिबं सततं रामचरितामृतासागरम् अतृप्तस्थं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम् गोष्पदीकृतवाराशं मसकीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामालारत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम् अंजनानंदनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपीसमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् आमिषीकृतमार्ताण्डं गोष्पदीकृतसागरं तृणीकृतदशग्रीवम् आञ्जनेयं नमाम्यहम् उल्लङ्घ्य सिन्धोसलिलसलीलं यस्तोकवह्निं जनकात्मजायाः आदाय तेनेव ददाह लङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पौमानन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं भाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम् मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि यः कर्णाञ्जलिसम्पुटैः हरः सम्यक् पिबत्यादरात् वाल्मीकिर्वदनारविन्दगलितं रामायणाख्यं मधुः जन्मव्याधिजराविपत्तिमरणैः अत्यन्तसोपद्रवं संसारसह विहाय गच्छति पुमान् विष्णोर्पदं शाश्वतं तदुपगतसमाससन्धियोगं सममधुरोपनतार्थवाक्यबद्धं रघुवरचरितं मुनिप्रणीतं दशशिरसश्च वदं निशामयध्वम् वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूतानां रामसागरगामिनि पुनातु भुवनं पुण्यात् रामायणं महानदी श्लोकसारसमाकीर्णं सर्गकल्लोलसङ्कुलं काण्डग्राह्यमहामीनं वन्दे रामायणार्णवम् वेदवेदे परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजं वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना वैदेहीसहितं सुरुद्रमुतले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाचैति प्रपञ्चन्स्ते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यपरं वाक्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलम् वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमान् पाश्चात् सुमित्रासुतः शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयोः वायव्यादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवराट् तारास्तो जाम्बवान् मध्ये नीरसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामलम् माता रामो मत्पिता रामो भ्राता रामो मत्सखा राघवेशः सर्वस्वं मे रामचन्द्रो दयालुः नान्यदेवं नैव जाने न जाने साकेते शरदिन्दुकुन्दधवले सौदे महामण्डपे पर्यस्ता अगरुधूपदीपललिते कर्पूरदीपोज्ज्वले सुग्रीवाङ्गदजाम्बवत्परिवृतं सौमित्रिणा सेवितं लीलामानुषविग्रहं रघुवरं रामं भजे श्यामलम् मेघश्यामं महाबाहुं स्थिरसत्त्वं दृढव्रतं कदा द्राक्ष्यामहे रामं जगतः शोकनाशनं जयत्यतिबलो रामो लक्ष्मणस्य महाबलः राजा जयति सुग्रीवा राघवेण अभिपालितः दासोऽहं कौसलेन्द्रस्य रामस्य क्लिष्टकर्मणः हनुमान् शत्रुसैन्यानां निहन्तां मारुतात्मजः न रावणसहस्रं मे युद्धे प्रतिबलं भवेत् शिलादिस्तु प्रहर्तारपादपैश्च सहस्रशः अर्धयित्वां पुरीं लङ्काम् अभिवाद्यश्च मैथिलीं समृद्धार्दो गमिष्यामि निशतां सर्वराक्षसां धर्मात्मा सत्यसन्धश्च रामो दासरतिर्यदि पौरुषे च अप्रतिद्वन्द्वः शरयेन जहि रावणीं नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवगौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे तपस्वाध्याय निरतां तपस्विं वाग्विदां वरं नारद परिपुत्रच्च वाल्मीकि मुनिपुङ्गवम् ओम रामाय नमः। Hare Krishna. Welcome back. I hope you all had a wonderful new year. So Ramachandra went to Dasaratha. He also had a wonderful new year because Dasaratha told him that he is going to coronate him as the emperor of the Ayodhya. But Rama, unlike us, is not moved by happiness or unhappiness. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Matra Sparshaastu Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukha Dukkada Agamapayano Nitya Stam Titikshasva Bharata, means a saintly person or one who is detached from all these material attachments is not distressed upon sudden fortunes or is not distressed upon sudden calamities. So Ramachandra was like that. He was like a sage, Rajarshi, So he was unmoved. He went just to obey his father. He went and his father informed him, "My son, I will coronate you as a king because it's time and I am old." And Rama agreed, and as you wish, and then Rama went back to his palace. And later that night, Dasaratha went to Kaikeyi's palace, and what happened we discussed last week. So before Dasaratha went to Kaikeyi's palace, that evening, he summons Sumantra, and he says, "I want to see my son Ramachandra one more time. Sumantra, can you please go and call him?" Sumantra obeyed his king, and he went to Ramachandra's palace. Already by that time, festivities began in Ayodhya. All the streets were decorated, all the door frames and palace gates were smeared with sandalwood paste, and Sumantra started driving his chariot. He could see all the diamonds and gems strewn on the pathways, like people threw them in because they were happy. What is the need of wealth when you are so happy? Whatever things that did not bring them happiness, they just threw them out. And Sumantra was going through these palace streets. It was well decorated, and he passed gates after gates. He came to crossroads, and then he saw from a distance the huge palace of Rama. It had a vimana. Like if you see any temple, you see a vimana to it. So similarly, Ramachandra's palace also had vimanas. He saw the vimana. I mean, it's like a temple tower, which was in white in color. It was several stories. It looked as if it was touching the sky. It was not so tall, but when compared to the other buildings, there were 7-storied buildings in Ayodhya. We will see in future. And then he saw that vimana, and then he crossed gate after gate. He crossed the first three gates, which was guarded by all the bowmen. And then he went inside. There he stopped the chariot, and from there he started walking inside. And the inner chambers, he saw all the relatives and friends inside that chamber. And then he crossed them, and then he started going inside. And near the Garbhagriha, where Rama's palace is located, inner chambers, there a few young men, youth, they were holding bow and arrows. They were like security guards, royal, regal security personnel. So armored personnel. So they were standing there, and Sumantra passed them, and then he went to the innermost chamber where elderly persons who look after all the security and other servants, they were seated in saffron robes and with a stick. So they were sitting there. And then when Sumantra saw these elderly people, they got up, they rose from their seats welcoming Sumantra. And Sumantra told them, "I want to see Ramachandra. Please go inside and tell him that the minister of Dasaratha and Rama's minister as well, Sumantra, is waiting outside the door." The elderly person, they got up, they went inside, informed Ramachandra about the arrival of Sumantra. At that time, Rama was seated like Vishnu, and Sita was decorating the house, and then she was fanning him with a chamara. Chamara is a whisk. It's kind of a fan made out of the animal chamar. And then when Sita was fanning Ramachandra, Sumantra came inside and saw Ramachandra, and Ramachandra was smeared in sandalwood paste, Rakta Chandana, red in color. And here, so many commentators have interpreted Varaha Rudhira as, that sandalwood paste smelled like the blood of a boar, which is not right. When Sumantra saw Ramachandra smeared in sandalwood, he immediately saw Varahadeva smeared in the blood of Hiranyaksha. But unfortunately, they translate it word to word, and then, why does the blood of a boar smell sweet like a sandalwood paste, right? It doesn't make sense. But this is how interpretations are made, especially Max Muller and things like that, people like that. But when Sumantra saw Ramachandra, he got the darshan of Varahadeva. Because Rama is about to leave to the forest, that itself is an indication of the death of Kumbhakarna and Ravana. Kumbhakarna is Hiranyaksha per se, Ravana is Hiranyakashipu. So, when Sumantra saw Rama, Rama got up, he offered him water and respects, and then he asked him to sit down. He offered him a best seat in his palace. It was a swinging seat, and then he asked, "What is the reason for your arrival?" Then Sumantra explained, "That I came here upon your father's orders. He wanted to see you one more time." And Ramachandra did not ask, "Why did he call me? What is the necessity?" Nothing. He just simply got him and said, "Let's go." Dasharatha used to call Ramachandra many times. "Rama, please come." He will come. He will not, no questions asked. He will come, obey his father, fall on his feet, then get up. While he is walking away, Dasharatha calls him again, "Rama," and then again Rama will come. This was the loving relation between Rama and Dasharatha. So for Rama, it is a normal thing. It's not just on the day of coronation, but the day before. So he followed Sumantra, got onto the chariot, and Sumantra started to drive Ramachandra to the palace of Dasharatha. Rama reached the palace gates. He crossed the three kakshas, three gates by chariot, and then the rest of the two gates by foot. So you can imagine the building. It was like a concentric squares, of walls, just like any temple. So and then he went inside his father and met his father. He prostrated in front of his father, fell down, paid his obeisances, got up. Then Dasharatha started to speak. "My dear son, I want you to get coronated tomorrow itself. Pushyami is a good star for you. It's your Sampat Nakshatra. That means it brings so many great things, opulence for you. Sampat Tara. It's called Sampat Tara." Rama was born on Punarvasu, but the day after the next day, Pushyami star comes. So on this day, I want you to get coronated. And I know that you are little concerned about the absence of your brother Bharata, but do not worry. Bharata is a noble man, I know. He follows you, he respects you, he loves you. But we don't know how the minds of men change at different circumstances. But anyway, he will come, we will inform him at a later time. But for now, I want you, to become the king. And also, some inauspicious signs I have been watching, since a long time. My birth star is approached by the planets such as Rahu, Sun and Mars. All are malefic planets, according to astrology. So all these malefic planets are approaching my birth star. The sign of this is the father or the emperor of the kingdom will have a bad, it's a bad omen for the father or the emperor. And Dasharatha is both here. He's the father of Rama and he's also the emperor. So these planets approaching my birth star is a bad sign. So my son, I may not live for long, but before that I want to see you as the king. So he said to Rama, and he touched his head, kissed him, and then he gave the blessings. And Rama took the blessings of his father and he went back to his home, his palace. So Dasharatha, as and when he decided to make Rama the king, he immediately invited all the kings. He took the decision, and that night itself, and then he said, "Tomorrow itself, let it be, the coronation." It was some kind of, he was seeing some bad things. He was expecting bad omens. So and then the next day, so that night he went to Kaikeyi's palace, and then Kaikeyi asked the deadly boons, and we saw last week the discussion between Kaikeyi and Dasharatha, and he fell down, swooned, he fell down unconscious. Now he gets up again and he pleads Kaikeyi not to send Rama to the forest. He asked several reasons, why should I send my son to the forest? What wrong did he do? Doesn't he love you more than he loves Kausalya? Hasn't he served you more than he served Kausalya? So like that he proposed several questions, and then he fell down unconscious one more time. And then when he got up, Kaikeyi started again vilifying Dasharatha, saying that, how come you gave me the boons and forgot that you have to follow the path of truth. All your ancestors have done that. Don't you know that story of Saibhya? She tells two stories here. The story of Saibhya, when Saibhya has to sacrifice his own self for the sake of a bird. The actual story is, there was a emperor called Sibi Chakravarti. His actual name is Saibhya. So a falcon, Agni in the form of falcon and Indra in the form of a vulture or eagle, started to chase Agni. And then it's a pigeon, sorry, it's not a falcon, it's a pigeon. And then the pigeon, Agni in the form of pigeon, came and fell in the lap of Saibhya and took the shelter of Saibhya. Please protect me. And Saibhya offered Indra, who was in the form of an eagle, that I will offer, you other food than the bird. But Indra did not agree. I want the same pigeon, because it is, to me, that bird is my food by providence. I have secured it as my food by providence. So I want the pigeon itself. Then when they discussed for a while, then Saibhya offered his own flesh for the flesh of the bird. Then Indra agreed as eagle. They want to put Saibhya to a test. So and then they took a balance, and then they put the falcon in the balance, the pigeon in the balance, and then Saibhya started to cut his thigh and then offer flesh from his body into the balance. But then the scales, the bird was so heavy, it started to grow its size, because it's a Maya pigeon, it's a Maya bird, Agni. So Saibhya, finally he has to, give up cutting the flesh from his thigh, and he said, finally he sat into the balance, and he said, I offer myself. Then Indra appeared and gave him the boons, you are very truthful, true to your word, you sacrificed your life. That is one story. And the other story Kaikeyi tells is the story of Alarka. Alarka is a sage. You can come and sit in the front also. And then the sage Alarka, one of the Brahmana, who was a blind Brahmana, he asked the eyes of Alarka, because the Brahmana was blind, he wanted the eyes of the sage, and then the king, Alarka was a king, sorry. And Alarka took out his own eyes and gave it to the Brahmana, because he gave that word to the Brahmana. And then Kaikeyi also says that the ocean, the boundaries of the ocean remain intact. The ocean never conquers, goes beyond its boundaries. It always stays within its limits. Similarly, you too have given your word, should stick to it, should stick to the path of Dharma, should stick to that boundary. So Kaikeyi proposed all these the Dharma rules to Dasaratha. Here, is she proposing the rules of Dharma? No, she is misusing Dharma so as to force Dasaratha to keep up his word, which will cause the death of Dasaratha, and thereupon she will become a widow. But we see such things even now. In the name of Dharma, people commit so many things. So Ramayana puts it in a black and white picture, that what is Dharma and what is not. So when Kaikeyi proposed all these things, Dasaratha finally again he fell unconscious, and he started gazing at her, trembling in fear. He started gazing at Kaikeyi. She was like death personified to him at that time. And he said, "You foolish woman, you are going to wipe our entire clan. The Ikshvaku race is meant to stick to the word of Dharma, but today you have asked such boons. In the Ikshvaku race, there was never, when the elder son is alive, the younger son was made a king, but you are asking for such things. But I have to do this. What should I say to all the men gathered tomorrow for the coronation ceremony of Rama? What should I tell them? Should I tell them that I am sending my son to the forest and make your son as the emperor? Oh Kaikeyi, listen to me. This is a doom even for you. I will die. Listen to me. This is a downfall for you too. But Kaikeyi did not listen. She was adamant. Then Dasaratha said, "O foolish woman, I today take a vow that I have given up your hand that I clasped at the time of our nuptial agreement. during marriage there is a panigrahana, you catch hold of the hand. So here she says, Dasaratha says that I have given up your hand that I have taken during the time of the marriage. Now I don't want you anymore as my wife, and your son Bharata should not offer water to me when I die. Only Rama shall offer water to me. So Dasaratha said this. Those who have not attended our last session of the Yuddhakanda, where Dasaratha, in Yuddhakanda, when he comes back at the end of the war, at that time Rama asks Dasaratha, when Dasaratha gives him 2 boons, that my son, ask me any boons, I shall give it to you. Then Rama asks Dasaratha that you have given up Kaikeyi as your wife and you have given up Bharata as your son. Now please accept them, please accept back Kaikeyi as your wife and Bharata as your son. So adamant was Dasaratha that even when he went back to the heavens, he never accepted Kaikeyi and Bharata as his son. So Rama asked that boon in the end, in the Yuddhakanda. But this is where he takes that vow, that I have given up your hand, that I have taken during the marriage, and I have given up Bharata as my son, and he should not offer water from me, and I will not accept it. So Kaikeyi, but she was adamant, that's okay, but I want my son to be the emperor, and I want Rama to go to forest for 14 years. Why are you wailing like an old woman, having given your word? Isn't Ikshvaku race famous for keeping up their word? So the war of words, went back and forth the entire night, and Dasaratha was so weak, and then he fell unconscious again. And the next morning, Sumantra came back to the palace, to wake up the king. Along with him, in the back, all the Purapramukhas and all the citizens of Ayodhya, Vasishta, Suyagnya, Jabali, Kashyapa, Katyayana, Markandeyu, and Rashtravardhana, Akopa, ministers and the priests of Dasaratha, they all came with golden jet, with a chowri and with a huge white umbrella and many whisks and a tiger skin, an elephant with auspicious marks and a chariot and with yogurt, ghee and flowers and all the samidhas, all the required paraphernalia for the coronation ceremony. They were all following Sumantra. And then Sumantra went inside the palace of Dasaratha. He went and he woke up the king. He thought the king was still sleeping, so Sumantra had these privileges of going closer to the king because he was his dear friend. Sumantra was not only a charioteer, not only the minister of Dasaratha, but he was also a dear friend. So Sumantra went to Dasaratha's bed and he started waking him up with a prayer. Generally, in those days, it was a tradition that you wake up your king, with some kind of a praise. So Sumantra said, just like the sun rises and gives pleasure to all the living entities, O my Lord, who gives pleasure to everybody, O Dasaratha, please wake up and give us pleasure. Then Dasaratha woke up, but he was still, he was actually sitting in his seat and he was with his head hanging low, and Kaikeyi was standing right next to him. But then Dasaratha slowly tilted his head up, he looked at Sumantra and said, why are you troubling me with your words, Sumantra? Then Sumantra stepped back. He saw the king was in distress, so he stepped back. Then Kaikeyi told Sumantra that the king, last night he was contemplating on many things, so he is tired. Go and fetch Ramachandra and call him here. Dasaratha wanted to see him. She didn't disclose any things that happened that night. She just said, just go and fetch Ramachandra and come here. Then Sumantra went outside. He met all the priests, Vasishta and all the other Purapramukhas and said, our king has woken up, and I am glad that you all came here with all the preparations. I will let him know that you all have come here and are waiting for the coronation ceremony of Ramachandra. I will go inside and tell him. And then Sumantra went back again into the palace of Dasaratha. Then Dasaratha this time addressed why have you not gone and fetched Ramachandra? Like she said, why are you still here? I am not sleeping, that's my order, go. And then Sumantra came out and he was a little puzzled. He did not know what was going on. He never saw this kind of situation with Dasaratha. But then he took up the chariot and then he rode. One thing I forgot to mention. The night before, when Rama went back to his palace, then Dasaratha called Sumantra and Vasishtha again, and he tells Vasishtha to go and guide Rama and Sita in the things that they have to do before the coronation ceremony. So Vasishtha climbs up a chariot, goes to the palace of Ramachandra. Rama runs outside his palace, gives his hand to Vasishtha and lets him get down. This was the bhava that Rama had towards elders. He always used to run, and then he gave hand to Vasishtha, he let him get down from the chariot and he took him in, and then Vasishtha guided them in all the rituals, and they fasted that night. Rama and Sita fasted that night, and they slept on dharba grass, kusa grass. And now Sumantra is going back again to the palace of Ramachandra in the same chariot, and then he went into the innermost chambers one more time, and he called Raghava to come and meet Dasaratha. Actually, it was at this time the Varaha Rudira sloka was there, not in the previous time, because these events are so confusing, like they repeat many times, going back and forth in chariot, the same day several times. So you have to read number of times and keep the order of the chronology. Anyway, I apologize. But anyway, so he goes and then he fetches Ramachandra, and Rama climbs on the chariot. Now when he is coming on the streets, Rama saw all the scented roads with all the alu wood. It's called agaru in Hindi. Agaru, you know that, right? Even we call agarbatti. It's made of that fragrant material, alu. They started burning it. Incense was there everywhere. They smeared sandalwood, and then he saw houses cleaned properly, all the decorations with the plantain trees. The festive mood was there, and at the crossroads all the temples were decorated, and so many citizens arrived in Ayodhya, and from a distance they are seeing Ramachandra. Some people are closer to Rama's chariot, some people are from a distance looking at Ramachandra. They thought, at least if he cannot see us, at least we can see him. Imagine that scene in a golden chariot, a black rain cloud of like colored personality, with all the golden ornaments decorated well, with a pitambara, with a yellow garment, so they can see immediately identify that is Rama. So he was going with Sumantra. They were all seeing him. There is a beautiful sloka here. It says, Yascha Ramo na pashyetu, yamcha Ramo na pashyati, nindanti sarvalokeshu, so atma api enam vigarhate. That means if Rama has not seen you, or if you has not seen Rama, ninditaha sarvalokeshu. That means the entire world will blame you. You have not seen Rama. Even one's own heart, atma api enam vigarhate. One's own heart would blame him as, what a life have you lived, what a life have you lived. You have not seen Rama, you have not seen Rama. With that distress itself, people used to be so much, aggrieved. But that's why they came there to see Ramachandra. And all the ladies, they did so many prayers for the welfare of Ramachandra, including the old women and, the young ladies, because Valmiki is pretty clear here that one may blame that the elderly women were not, loving Rama. Only the younger women got attracted to him, so they were doing the welfare activities. No, Vruddhanam, even the old ladies and all beings in Ayodhya, they loved Ramachandra, including stones, grass, and the pillars of house. Everything was attracted to Rama. When he left Ayodhya, all the trees stopped blossoming. All the, even the inanimate objects became really inanimate at that point. So all these people, they came and they saw Ramachandra. They followed him, and Rama in the chariot, he started to look at everybody, and then they went. some of the younger women started to say how beautiful Sita is. She is a worthy woman for Ramachandra. Nobody in Ayodhya, no girl in Ayodhya thought, maybe I should also marry Ramachandra. Nobody thought like that. When they saw Sita, they thought Sita is the only girl eligible to marry Ramachandra, not us. The only lady who thought that she can marry Ramachandra was Surpanaka. Because she got so attracted to Rama, she fell in love immediately, and she went and asked him. Shamelessly, she proposed, and Rama rejected, of course. Anyway, that's a beautiful, humorous incident. So when all these ladies saw Ramachandra, they thought, okay, Sita must have done a lot of penances in her previous life, so she accrued so much of merit that she got Rama as husband. May he long live, even may Sita be so happy for a long time. So they, blessed, they prayed. They were happy looking at the happiness of Rama and Sita. So Ramachandra traveled, that pathways, the crossroads, the wide highways, and then he approached the palace gates, and then he entered. Most of the buildings we can expect them as to be squares, because the Vastu Shastra, if you read, it's like a Vastu Purusha, in the form of a mandalaka, sitting in a sitting position with his head in the northeast, in a slant position, where his stomach falls right in the middle of, if you draw the diagonals, they intersect at the center of the square, that's where his Nabhi will fall. At that place they build the Garbhagriha, the innermost chamber. That's some of the principles. I was going through to just get an idea of how the buildings in Ayodhya looked like, to give you a good picture. So they must have been squares, with entrances which are aligned, with the front entrance, just like any temple. So Rama entered Dasaratha's palace one more time. He went closer to Dasaratha. He fell prostrate in front of Dasaratha. But at this time, Dasaratha did not lift Ramachandra as usually, and then whenever Rama goes to Dasaratha, whenever he falls on his feet, Dasaratha used to lift him, puts him on his lap, and then he coaxes him for a while. First he asks him, do you want to eat this, do you want to eat that? First he will coax him for a long time, then he will start conversing questions. Rama used to go to Dasaratha and he falls on his feet, and then Rama used to address himself as, my dear father, Raghurama is paying obeisances to you. He never addressed that I am paying obeisances. He says Raghurama he's paying obeisances to you. Then he tells his name so that his father doesn't have to think who it is, or he doesn't have to take the pain of looking down and doing some action, or taking a trouble to do some action. So that was Rama's attitude towards Dasaratha. So like this, even today, Rama told that Raghurama is paying obeisances to you, but Dasaratha did not respond, and he lifted his head and his eyes were bloodshot, with all the tears, and the tears rolled down, and Dasaratha was so much in anguish. And looking at Dasaratha, Rama stepped back, and he was scared, as if a person gets scared when he steps on a snake. This is exact mentioning that was given in Valmiki Ramayana. And Rama was frightened at the look of Dasaratha. Then he thought, why is my father like this? I never expected it. And then he looked at Kaikeyi and asked, Mother, did I commit any crime or sin that had made my father angry on me? What caused this grief to my father? Did I do anything like that? Please tell me, what is it? Then Kaikeyi told, here I would like to tell something from future as an anecdote. When Bharata came back from his maternal uncle's place, after all these things are done, then when he knows that Rama has been exiled by Dasaratha, then he asks a question to Kaikeyi. What wrong did Rama do? What did he do? Did he kill somebody? Did he kill a Brahmana? Did he kill a cow? Or has he looked with lust upon another lady? Like this, he asks a few questions. Then Kaikeyi says, don't you know that Rama doesn't do all these things? He will never do all these things. How come you are asking such questions? That will never happen. Rama will never do such things. Now Rama is asking the same question to Kaikeyi, did I do anything wrong? And Kaikeyi with the same attitude, then he says, nothing like that, my child. your father has given me a boon long ago. Now only you alone can fulfill it, because you are the son of Dasaratha, and you are such a virtuous man, true to your word, true to the name of you, Satya Parakramaha, you will do everything that is necessary to keep your father happy. So you alone can fulfill that boon that your father gave to me long ago. But your father afflicted in pain because he has to stick to righteousness to keep up his word, that he has to make you do this. That's the reason, and he is afraid that whether you will fulfill it or not. That is why he is painful. That is why he is in pain. Then Rama looked at, now he was so happy that, it's just that I have to fulfill the desire of my father. And he looked at Dasaratha and Kaikeyi and said, you need not doubt. There are no second thoughts. If my father says something, I will do it right away. So do not worry about it. What is it that I have to do? For my father's sake, I am ready to give up my own life. For him, I will jump into the abysmal ocean. I will jump into the fire. I will take the poison. I will do anything for my father. You tell me what I need to do. Then Kaikeyi told him that long ago in the war with Shambharasura, your father was wounded, I saved him, he gave me 2 boons, and I entrusted those boons with your father itself. And today is the day I want them back. I want Bharata, your brother, to be coronated as king in place of you. And the second boon is, you should go to the forest dressed as a hermit in bark garments and with matted locks of hair, and you should reside in forest for 7 years, and on top of that 7 more years. This is what I discussed last week. But she didn't say 14 years. She said 7 years and then 7 years later. Because 14 years, if a person possesses something that belongs to him, and the other person loses his right to claim it, that's why she didn't want that to happen. So she said 7 years, on top of that 7 more years you should stay in forest. Rama said, all right, here, this day, today, now and then, right now, I would leave to the forest, right here, from here itself, but let me go to my mother's house and to Sita, and let them know that I have to go to the forest. This time, please give me, please allow me this time to stay in Ayodhya. Then Kaikeyi and Dasaratha looked at Kaikeyi and he said, Chi, and then he fell down unconscious again. Then Rama lifted him with both of his hands. Then he made him sit. Dasaratha was expecting to see his son, coming in the 4 gatis. The Lord walks in 4 gatis, Chaturgati. That is Gajagati. He walks like an elephant, and he walks like a Vyaghra, like a tiger. He walks like a lion, and he walks like a bull. One might be thinking, why is this bull? Actually, bull is the most beautiful animal. And it's beautiful than horse. Yeah, a bull with a big hump is very beautiful. Some of the bulls from India, they are taken and then they are now breeding them in Brazil. It's called Brahmani bull. It's very, very beautiful. And the calf of the bull is also very, very beautiful. So that bull, when it walks, it's very majestic to see. So he used to walk like that bull. And he used to walk like that lion. So let us see when he walks like this. When does he walk like an elephant? When he is walking with elders, he would walk like an elephant, very slowly. Because he wants to listen to the elders, right? Because they cannot walk briskly like young people. So he walks with them like an elephant, slowly nodding his head, listening to them, making his ears stand out to listen to their discussion. And he walks like a tiger if he wants to send shivers in the hearts of the enemies, right? So that's when he walks like a tiger. When he was walking in the Yuddhakanda, when he was fighting, Ravana himself was mesmerized by the beauty of Rama. And then he left his dhanush and then he was seeing him. And then when Rama was raining arrows on Ravana, he was just gazing at him and then he fell down unconscious. Rama would not kill him, but all these other monkeys, vanaras, they would not leave him. So his charioteer drew him away. Then when he got up and said, where am I? Where am I? Where is Rama? Where is Rama? Then his charioteer said, why would Rama be here? He is in the battlefield. Where am I now? You are outside the battlefield, I drew you away. Then he chastised his charioteer. How dare you? I was gazing the beauty of Ramachandra, how beautifully he is fighting. I have never seen anybody fighting like that. But you deprived me of this pleasure. He says that. So even Ravana was attracted to the beauty of Rama. So here, he walks like that when he has to send tremors in the hearts of his enemies. And he walks like a lion, whenever he wants to please his devotees, who are taking under his shelter like Prahalada. So he comes as a lion. In an instance, he took the head of a lion and then he came to protect his dear devotee. Like that, when devotees pray him to come, he walks like a lion and then comes there. And like a bull, he carries the burden of this entire universe upon his shoulders, and then he plows the field to get the grain, to get the food for all the living entities. He generates the food for all the living entities. So at that time, when he's carrying the burden of kingdom and everything, he walks like a bull. So Dasaratha wanted to see this Chaturgati of his son, but he was not able to because of Kaikeyi. His eyes were full of tears now. And then he fell unconscious. Rama lifted him with his, club-like hands, like Hanuman described. Bahavaha parigopamaha sarvabhushana bhusharshav kimna vibhushitav kimardhamna vibhushitav. I mean, they are fit to be decorated by all kinds of ornaments. But why are not they decorated now? That's what Hanuman says when he meets him. So with those hands, Rama lifted him and puts him on the seat. And then he tells his father that, he takes leave and then he goes back to his mother Kausalya. Lot of people ask the question, why should Rama, follow all these things? One devotee of our temple, he asked me a very, very good question. He said, when Arjuna stopped fighting, Krishna said, you have to follow dharma, Kshatriya dharma. You have to take up your bow and fight. But now here, the same Lord, in the form of Ramachandra, why is he not fighting as a Kshatriya for the kingdom? He is giving up everything and then he is going away. It is pretty clear that Rama was first the son of Dasaratha and then a Kshatriya, not vice versa. So for him, the dharma as a son was more important than the dharma as a Kshatriya. So he went to Kausalya's house. All these things for Westerner, even for people who are trained in modern circumstances, for them it's difficult to comprehend. I'll tell you an anecdote. Once when an Englishman, he was writing his diary in India, going through all the villages, and he wanted to write the chronicles, of the villages. Then he saw a washerman washing clothes. He was cooking in a pot. He was cooking the clothes in boiling water. He was boiling water, and then he took out the cloth and he started hitting on the rock. This Englishman wrote in his book that all Indians are fools. They don't know how to break a stone. This washman, this man is trying to break a stone with a piece of cloth, and he thinks he can make it harder by putting it in a pot and boiling it in water. Now with one cloth he was not able to accomplish it, and then he took the other one and then he started hitting again. He's such a fool. All Indians are fools. He wrote it down in his diary. He has to walk down to the washman and then ask, what's going on. He could have explained, I'm trying to wash. Then later on, now they figured out, if you hit, the particles, they travel with different velocities, so, all this crap, So like that, my uncle used to always joke that the English people never understood, there's some sweet in India that they make, outside it's batter and inside there is some stuffing, You know that, right? So the English people never understood how, it got into inside it. He used to always joke, But he said, our ladies never told it. They said, you don't give us freedom, that's all right, but we are not going to let this secret away. So like that, it's a difference in perspective. It might seem ridiculous and ludicrous, but, when you read Ramayana, there will be a change of heart and you will understand why Rama has to do that. So Rama walked into the palace of his mother, Kausalya. She was now very thin and very lean because she was fasting for the past few days, because she knew that Rama was going to get coronated. And then she was in the middle of all the prayer ritual. She was worshipping Vishnu. Ranganatha was their deity at that time. And then when Rama approached her, she saw Kausalya. And then like a horse, like a female horse that runs towards its child, similarly Kausalya got up and ran towards Ramachandra. She was dressed in a white silk saree, and then she was very weak, and then she embraced him several times, and then she kissed him on his forehead. Then Rama bowed down and pressed her feet with his hands. Then he got up. Then Kausalya said, "My dear son, today, according to the wishes of your father, become a king and rule this planet just like the Ikshvakus ruled. Let name and fame be yours for a long time. And because I am your mother, similarly I would also get name and fame equally." Like that, she blessed him with all the things. Then Rama said, "My dear mother, I have to go to forest today, and I have a bad news for you. Today I have to go to forest." And Lakshmana was hissing like a snake. He was standing right next to him. He was hissing like that right from the entrance of Dasaratha's palace to Kausalya's palace. And then Kausalya immediately fell unconscious. And then Rama lifted her, gave some water, then she got up, she came to her normal senses. Then she said, "All this life I have been waiting for this moment for you to become a king. Since the time you were born and after your sacred thread ceremony," we did not know much about Rama's childhood, right? Here is one instance that talks about Rama's thread ceremony. What is it called? Upanayana. When Rama was 7 years, he got the Upanayana. So since 7 years, since 18 years I have been, 17 years I have been waiting. So Rama is 25 years old when he left Ayodhya. So maybe at the age of 8 years he got this thread ceremony. So Kausalya is saying, since 17 years I have been waiting for this moment. Now you have blasted my heart with this bad news. How come your father had decided to send you to the forest? That Kaikeyi, Rama tells everything, that Kaikeyi asked the brooms, and now Kausalya is lamenting that I have never been respected by my co-wives in spite of me being such a noble lady. All these grievances come when there is unhappiness. Actually there was nothing like that. In Treta Yuga everybody was respectful to each other. They were all good people, but in emotion, when they are emotional, they speak so many things. Similarly, Kausalya is saying that I have not been respected by my co-wives for so many years. Now I thought, you would become a king, and I would be respected. These are all the proposals that she's putting forward so that Rama would change his mind, right? So that he won't go to the forest, because when he knows that my parents are not respected, things like that. As you see, many of the devotees, when they want to become sannyasis, or full-time devotees in the ashrama, when they want to go out of their house, their parents say, "Oh no, what happens to our health if you are unhealthy? I have to take care of. There won't be money." They say all these things, right? Similarly, Kausalya doesn't want his son to go to the forest, so she's proposing all these things. I have never been respected, and your father, never cared for me, but I never minded. But now, you, after being announced to be the next king, but today you are declared again to go to you are exiled to the forest. This makes me really unhappy. And she cries, "Who will respect me, an old woman without her son, living next to her? Who will respect me? Who will take care of me?" Like that, she proposed so many things. Then Lakshmana got furious. He said that Dasaratha, he is acting like a child now. For him, the old age has disappeared and childishness came again. So he is listening to his wife, and they both have, this machination or, this scheme, this plot against Ramachandra. I think this was decided a lot earlier, but today they have executed their plan, and, Lakshmana started all this, blasphemy against his father. Then Ramachandra pacified Lakshmana, saying, "Lakshmana, you are making it difficult for me. I am trying to pacify my mother and follow my dharma and follow the word of my father, but here you are exaggerating the situation and making it difficult for me to pacify my kith and kin and make haste to the forest. Then Lakshmana kept quiet, but again Kausalya lamented and she said, "No, my son, you have to stay here." And she proposed several things, that for this reason you have to stay, for this reason you have to stay. But Ramachandra, then she says, "If you have to go, then take me also along with you. Like a cow follows her calf, I will follow you into the forest. Take me into the forest. I cannot live here. I will be better off staying with you in the forest than staying in this palace where I am not least respected." Then Rama said, "My dear mother, as long as Dasarada is alive, he is the master to you and me, to Lakshmana and to everybody in Ayodhya. It is your duty to follow your husband. You should follow him, until the end. So you should not leave him. So, and do you think will he leaving me? No, I think he would not live for a long time. As long as he is alive, you should take care of him until I am back. This is my promise. You have to stay here." Still, Kausalya proposed many things. He refused. Then she attacked with the Shastra. She said, the duty of a son is to take care of his mother. So follow that topmost duty and go to higher planets. Then Rama, retorted back with Shastra again. He said, the duty of a son is to follow the word of his father. Don't you know the son of Jamadagni, who is Parshurama? He killed his own mother Renuka upon the order of his father. A person who enters right now in this discussion might think, what, this is a talk about, killing their own family members. Nothing like that. Okay. But anyway, so Parashurama killed his own mother upon his father's order. But he proposes many more things. He says, have we not seen in the past how the sage Kandu followed his father's advice? Like that, he proposed so many stories to his mother and said it becomes the duty of the son to follow his father. So father comes first and then mother, so I should follow Dasarada's words. So for that reason I have to go. And he said, and she said, as a cow I will follow you. He said, as long as he is alive, he is our master, so you should serve him. So with that, he addressed the issues that his mother proposed, and then he pacified her. And then Lakshmana again got angry. He said, actually Rama before this he talks about destiny. He says, we don't know what will happen in future. Lakshmi comes now, she goes, she always moves. Even Chanakya says that Lakshmi moves from one place to another, she will never stay at one place. So if you have a savings in your bank account, be sure that that bank is going to go away. And no matter, even if it is Bank of America or Wells Fargo, there are many bigger banks that have gone down. So take all your money out, invest in something else. So like that, Rama says, Lakshmi moves from one place to other. Fortunes, they come, they go. It's just a matter of destiny. Don't we know that Kaikeyi has behaved with us very, very respectfully and lovingly all these days? Isn't it that she loves me more than she loves Bharata? Is it not? Then why is that she spoke today like that? All these harsh words. Because it's destiny. This is what Rama said. Then Lakshmana got angered when Rama spoke about destiny. He said, Rama, my dear brother, today you speak like a coward man. How can you, he says you speak like a coward man. He doesn't say you are a coward. Lakshmana doesn't dare to do that. He says you speak like a coward man. Only coward people talk about destiny. And he's hissing like a serpent, and his hand is moving like the trunk of an elephant, and his nostrils are bulging in and out, and he's breathing heavily, and his bow is trembling in his hand, and he's talking. I hate this talk from you, a talk about destiny. Today the world shall see whether is the prowess vested in the hands of destiny, or is it vested in the hands of this Lakshmana, who is the brother of you. Today I will show to the world who is powerful. Is it Lakshmana or the destiny? I will destroy this destiny in front of you, my dear Lord Ramachandra. I will take this bow and arrow today, and I will destroy all the people who are standing against you. I will annihilate all the people of Ayodhya who are standing, who took the sides of Bharata and Kaikeyi. Today, now, here itself, I will imprison Dasharatha. He says all these things. Then Ramachandra pacifies him and says, my dear brother, the only good thing, the only good recourse to me as well as you is to follow the word of our father. Just that one sentence he says and pacifies Lakshmana. Actually, I'll tell one more thing from future. When Rama went to Chitrakuta, Bharata's army is coming to meet Ramachandra, but take him back. At that time, Lakshmana climbs up a tree and sees who is coming. And then he sees the Kovidara flag, Dvaja, the Dvaja of the Ikshvakus. He sees it. He thinks that Bharata is coming with army to kill Ramachandra. He orders Ramachandra there, brother, get the bow and arrow which are kept inside. Take Sita to a secure place. Bring the bow and arrows of both of us. Today we will annihilate the army of Bharata. He's coming here to destroy you. Then Ramachandra sitting underneath the tree like this, with his one leg on top of the other thigh. He says, my dear Lakshmana, don't you know that Bharata never spoke like this to us? He's always good to us. He is not interested in the kingdom. I know it for sure. But if you are interested in the kingdom, when Bharata comes, I will ask him to give the kingdom to you, and he will give it to you. And Lakshmana got down and he stood very silent. From that point, there are 150 verses after that follow the discussion between Bharata and Vasishtha and all these people. Lakshmana did not speak a word. So Rama knows how to talk to everybody. He knows the psychology very well. I'll tell you right now itself. Then after he spoke that thing to Lakshmana, Lakshmana kept quiet, right? But his feelings, bad, that he's ashamed. But then he says, maybe our father might have come to see us. Lakshmana says that. Then Rama says, yes, you are right, our father might have come. Just to make his brother not feel bad, so he knows psychology, he knows how to talk and how to, coax his brothers. So Ramachandra, here he said only one word, my dear Lakshmana, the only good recourse to you and me is to follow the word of our father. So let's follow it, let's do it, that's the only good thing to do. So Lakshmana, then he goes to the palace of, so at that time, Sita also arrived, he goes, and then he talks to Sita. No, actually he goes to his home back. Sita is there, taking all the arrangements, she's decorating the house, she's busy with all these things. And then she saw Rama coming. Rama was not at all dejected or unhappy. But looking at the people who liked Rama, looking at their distress, Rama was also unhappy. Not because he lost the kingdom or anything. When he saw them, and when he is coming to Sita, now he is going to leave her, that's going to afflict her a lot of pain. So that's why Rama is under pain. So his face is a little drooping. And when Sita saw that, she was also unhappy. What happened? He went to get things, to get good things, and now he is coming like this. What has happened in between? So she came running and she asked, what happened, my lord? Why is your face like that? The charming face, the lotus eyes, why are they drooping now? Then he said, Sita, my father today has given me a sacred duty to follow. I have to go to the forest of Dandakaranya and stay there for 14 years. And Bharata will be anointed as the king, and you have to stay in Ayodhya. And don't praise me in front of Bharata, because that will anger him. He says, when you praise somebody in front of the kings, they will get, their ego is hurt. So never do that thing. Always be in compliance with what he is thinking, and stay here and take up sacred vows and prayers and follow those rituals until I come back. And always be with a servant attitude towards my father and my mothers, including Kaikeyi and all the 350 other wives of my father. Dasharatha had 353 wives. Actually, when Rama left Dasharatha and he was going away, all the 350 wives, they lamented in a loud tone. Valmiki vividly describes, the whole palace was in distress. So he tells this to Sita. He says, you have to be like this. And then Sita is all in distress. She says, what makes you think that I will be here without you? I will follow you in all reasons. She tells, my husband is my supreme deity, and I will follow my husband like a shadow. Didn't my father tell you that during the marriage? Chayeva anugata sada, pativrata mahabhaga, chayeva anugata sada. Like a shadow I will follow you. And I am destined to go to forest, because when I was a child, some of the Brahmana who is famous, looking at the bodily marks, he can tell, your fortune. So he told, when I was a child, he looked at the body marks of mine, and he told that I am destined to live in forest. So I am eagerly waiting to go to the forest. There's a little, very classy humor is involved here. Like, when Sita explains, she wanted to convince Ramachandra that she had to go to forest. She says, I am eager to go to forest since that point. So this is the time I will follow you. And she also says, another servant maid, these women with the one-stringed instruments, they come and then they take your hand and then it's called Sodi in Telugu. So they say that, right? Even in those times, they are there. Looks like they have some, to some extent they can say, it seems. I asked an astrologer today, is that right or something? So according to Vedas, even these people, the tribal people have their own calculations, based on, the lines on the hand or whatever. So this palmistry is something that is fascinating even to the people of Treta Yuga. And I'll tell you this, in Clemson, when I was in Clemson and I was studying, we had this a day with India. They put up tents and then to collect money, for projects in India, something like some charity activity. So there was this tent by one of my friends. He doesn't know anything about palmistry or anything, but he set up a tent and he said, Baba palmistry or something. No Indian went, but I saw most of the Americans and people from other countries. They come. I don't know what is interesting. Maybe it's the personal touch that makes them happy or whatever. But like that, people of Treta Yuga are fascinated by palmistry. So Sita also went through this, I guess. So that servant maid looked at Sita's hand and told that she will go to forest. So two things she said. So like that, I am destined to go to forest, so I will follow you. I shall follow you. Then Rama proposed that, my dear, should we stop? Is it a good point to stop? Should we stop? Or?
We can give a logical conclusion.
Okay. So Rama says, Sita, forest is full of thorns, bushes, and grass that is very harsh and severe. So for this reason you should not go to forest. And he says, forest is full of mosquitoes, flies and gadflies. He tells this. It is there in Valmiki Ramayana. So they have an urban lifestyle and a forest lifestyle, and they are very much aware of it. So he says, it is full of gadflies and they pester you a lot. For this reason you should not go to the forest. And he says, in forest you will not have plenty of food. You should always be starving. And whatever you get, fruits, roots and honey, you should only take that. You cannot eat anything beyond this. And in forest you should fast. You should respect guests. Whoever guest comes to your home, you should bring lot of food for them from the forest. You have to gather lot of food. So this is a trouble. For this reason you should not go to the forest. And in the forest you walk a lot and then you get tired, and then in the night you have to sleep on a bed of leaves. And for this reason you cannot go to the forest. It is troublesome. And in forest you have to take bath 3 times a day, because you have to take 3 times a day even even when you are living in an urban society. But here especially you have to take it must and should, because the animals smell you because it's from the scent ejected from your body. They keep themselves clean so that no animals can track them. That probably could be one of the reasons. So you have to take bath 3 times a day. So you should so for this reason you cannot go to the forest. A lot of people might be happy in the modern days. You don't have to take 3 times bath, so you don't have. So but anyway, so for this reason you should not come. So he proposed so many things and said, and it is full of wild animals. The forest is full of resounding noise from the waterfalls and from the roaring of lions, and it is very scary. You should not come to the forest for this reason. Then Sita heard all these reasons and said, "You are talking like an old woman. I want to come to forest. Didn't my father offer you during the time of my marriage? And what will he think of his son-in-law if you don't dare to take me to the forest and protect me from all these wild animals and demons? My father would think that you are a lady in the form of a man." Sita tells this. And then she cries, and her lotus-like eyes are filled with crystal-like tears, and then they ooze out, and then they fall onto the ground, and then they, spread out like stars in the sky. Her tears are like crystals. Valmiki vividly describes it. And then she hugs him, and then she cries, and then Rama, holding her cheek and then wiping her tears, he says, "My dear, I do not want it to force you to go to the forest without knowing your opinion. Now that I know your opinion, let's go." And she spoke harshly. That's when Rama concluded, right? And somebody is offering you something, something that you like a Mysore pak, you say, why, but when they offer it, you take. But something like from Karela curry or something which is very bitter, and they try to offer it. How many times I told you I don't want this? So that means you're angry, your action in anger is truthful because you really from your heart don't want it. So that's why you react strongly. So Rama knew this, and then he said, "Okay, I will take you, and we'll all go to the forest." And then immediately Lakshmana also fell on his feet and clasped his, and he held his feet and said, "Will you take me or not?" He said, "I am also following you. You can never tell me that I have to live here in Ayodhya. Without you, I will sacrifice my life. I will give up my life. I don't want this heavens, Vaikuntha or anything without you. For me, they are nothing. They mean nothing to me. I want to come with you. I am your servant. I am an object that belongs to you. My Lord, please take me." Then Rama, he thinks he already made such a big thing. Now if I say don't come, he will be upset. He said, "Okay, go to your friends, bid them farewell, and then come back." And then he also tells, "Go and call Suyagnya. I want to donate all my wealth to all the Brahmanas and the sages." Suyagnya is the son of Vasishtha. So he's Guru Putra. He's like a brother too. So he said, "Go and call Suyagnya. I want to donate all these things." So Lakshmana goes to bid farewell to all his brothers and friends and call Suyagnya. So with this good note, we'll stop here.